weekend and you're having a good Monday morning so far. Hopefully it's Monday morning and you're not checking in later. But anyways, we're going to get started on our warm-up, and then we're going to do some IXL practice and get into a new topic or kind of review. We touched on it a little bit when we did warm-ups previously, but first off, list the factors of 15. So remember, any numbers that go into 15. So 1 times 15 is 15. You got 3 times 5 is 15. And I think that's about it because nothing else can go into 15. So these are all the factors of the numbers that can be multiplied by each other to be into 15. Next one's pretty easy. What's the absolute value of negative 38? So remember, absolute value is when you have these two brackets. They're asking what is the distance from 0. So you always take off the negative sign and it's just going to be 38. Because remember, they're just asking what's the distance from 0 when they say absolute value. So no matter what number is in there, it's going to be a positive number. Okay, Lester ate 2/3 of the chocolates in a box. If he ate 18 chocolates, how many were in the box? So what we can do, we can take 18 times 2/3 to see what we get. So remember, it's going to be 18 over 1 times 2 over 3 because we got to put our whole number into a fraction. So 18 times 2, I'm just going to do it off to the side here. 1, 6, 36. Oh, I totally did this wrong. We're going to skip this one. So ignore that one, sorry. Using x as a variable, write the inequality graphed on the number line. So x is going to be either greater than or equal to or less than. So there's no, the number is obviously -3 as is our other side. But since the box or the circle is not filled in, that means that we're not going to have the or equal to sign underneath. So is x going to be greater than -3 or is it going to be less than -3? But technically it's going up, so x is going to be greater than -3 as our answer for this one. Okay. Okay, give the value of point z as a decimal. Okay, so let's see how many sections we have. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 sections, and z is on 3 out of 4. So 3 out of 4 is the same thing as saying 3/4 out of $1, which is the same thing as saying 75 cents. So 0.75 is going to be your answer for z. And y would be 0.05, x would be 0.025. Okay, so think of it as 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4. Because remember, you have to count the total sections at the bottom, and then you got to count how many sections where your point is at, and then you can just divide it, or in this case, I just knew that 3/4 is 75, or 0.75. Okay, for this week, you guys are going to be working on coordinate planes. Why didn't it pop up? And what specifically you're going to be starting off with is quadrants. Quadrants are pretty much areas or boxes to where certain points are going to land. And as you can see on this coordinate graph, there's 4 different quadrants, which we have done these on our warm-ups, but in this case, we're going to get a little bit more into it. So as you can see, quadrant 1 is going to have 2 positive coordinates. So for example, as you can see, your x-axis is right here. It's going from left to right. So x-axis is just another word for a line. Your y-axis is going to be going up and down. And as you can see, you got 10 to -9, and then we got for a y-axis, we got the lines going from 12 to -11. So anytime you have 2 points, your x is always going to be first, You're going to list your X first. So all these are where your X would be located. And your Y point is going to be the second coordinate. Okay, so if you have two positive numbers in parentheses, that means that you're going to have a point in quadrant 1. So for example, if you have 5, 4, and your dot is right here, you're going to have a 5 right here and a 4 right here. So that means they're two positive numbers. But if you look over in quadrant 2, the first coordinate is going to be a negative, and the second coordinate is going to be a positive. So as you can see, like for example, if we had -7, 3, so we go to -7 and then go up 3 for y. So -7 for x, 3 for y. In quadrant 3, I don't know if okay. On quadrant 3, you got two negatives. So all these numbers in here are going to be double negatives. So we could do the same as kind of our quadrant 2. How about -7, -3? So you go -7, but now you go down to -3. So any two numbers that are negative are going to be in quadrant 3. Now in quadrant 4, remember this is a Roman numeral. All these are Roman numerals. Remember, a 1 before a 5 means that it's 1 less than 5, which means 4. So this is quadrant 4. Your first coordinate is going to be a positive. Your second coordinate is going to be a negative. So as, for example, we could go a +7, -3, and your your point is going to be right here. So always remember that your X coordinate is going to go first. Your Y coordinate is going to go second. So you got 7, -3. You would put, the dot would just be right here. For the first IXLs, and then I'm going to have you do some Moby Maxes on Tuesday and Thursday. They're going to be asking you what point is where. So if you have a 3, 1, your quadrant, they're going to ask you what quadrant it's going to be located at, and you're going to say quadrant 1 because you have two positive numbers. If you have a -3, -1, you would find it in quadrant 3 because there's two negatives, so -3, -1. If you had a -5, 4, so -5, 4, you go -5, 4, then your your point is going to be in right here, and you're going to have quadrant 2 is where you're going to be looking at it. So for example, I'm going to start you off on X point 3. And some of you have already started it, and that's totally fine. We're going to be doing most of the X's on here. So what shape is in quadrant 1? So remember, quadrant 1 is this one right here. So we're going to automatically know that the star is in quadrant 1. What shape is in quadrant 4? Because remember, the 5 minus 1 is 4. So this is another word for 4, or symbol for 4. Is going to be the star again. What shape is in quadrant 4 again? So remember, this is quadrant 4, this is quadrant 1, this is quadrant 2, 3, and 4. So you're going to have the triangle right there. And you just go up to 100. This would be an easy one for you guys to get started with. Okay, message me if you have any questions or give me a call. Thanks, guys.